It's about Andy Burnham. And he had an article immediately after the chair of the National Inquiry was announced, where he came out supporting her. No nonsense, supporting her. And it was as we predicted. The Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham publicly rebuked critics, that's like me, you, who questioned the inquiry's new chair, demanding that we stop reading politics into it and to let the inquiry do its business. Leave it alone. Don't criticise it. Let them get on with it. This is, of course, damage control from a man who has everything to fear from what this inquiry might expose. Burnham is not some outside observer. He's neck deep in this scandal's recent history. As mayor, he commissioned, promoted and defended the Oldham Assurance review, sold to the public as independent but designed from the start to avoid the most serious evidence of institutional failure. Burnham's fingerprints are all over this. Here's the article. Burnham backs Baroness Longfield to chair inquiry. You can see I don't make anything up. And it's written by Kevin Fitzpatrick. The review that Burnham oversaw in Oldham 3 years, I think, before it produced its findings, and then they tried to cover it up. And we fought tirelessly. It cleared political figures of wrongdoing. It refused to interview a single Pakistani rape gang survivor, and it accepted political explanations without testing them against the evidence. There is no plausible explanation for clearing politicians whilst excluding the most relevant survivors other than protecting the politicians. And this is all about politics, regardless of what you say, Andy Burnham. The Assurance Review did not interview a single Pakistani rape gang survivor. Not one. The testimonies it took from whistleblowers, they refused to record and took selective notes, of which whistleblower after whistleblower refused to sign off, and I refused to testify. Burnham effectively silenced every survivor. A process that clears political figures while silencing the most inconvenient witnesses cannot be called independent, let alone an inquiry. No innocent explanation survives those facts. Burnham commissioned a whitewash. Let me say that again. Andy Burnham commissioned a whitewash. He promoted it as credible. He used it, and other Labour politicians used it to block any further inquiry. And I'll show you. So there's no ambiguity. I'll show you. Immediately after Burnham published his whitewash, Debbie Abrams, Jim McMahon and Angela Rayner released the following statement. This is one of the most comprehensive safeguarding reviews undertaken. It is an uncomfortable and disturbing fact that abuse takes place in every city, town and village, and Oldham is not immune from that. No, we were talking about the specific Pakistani rape gangs, but see how they avoid that. 4th paragraph down, 5th paragraph down. This independent review also addresses head-on the false and often politically motivated conspiracy theories that claimed grooming gangs were operating under the protection of senior politicians. The review was clear. There is no basis for these accusations, and we are pleased that the report draws a line under this. That's parliamentary letter-headed paper. That's what that emblem at the top is. We hope today allows trust in the system to be rebuilt, so that victims who have not already to come forward have the confidence to do so. Draw a line. Burnham was in charge of a whitewash. Sue me. The would-be Prime Minister was in charge of a whitewash that protected politicians involved in the cover-up of the gang rape of children. That is the evidence. The evidence is conclusive. Test me on it. Any way you want, anyone who wants to. Why will GB News not go anywhere near that. Is it cowardice, or do they want to contain it? It's a genuine question. I don't know the answer. Merry Christmas to you, and thank you. He's one of those who's constantly pushing the work on X. Thank you. You can see how the assurance review was used to try and block any further inquiry. He even defended it in front of 100 people that we took to a council meeting, and they continued to defend it even after we exposed its deliberate omissions and even content within it that contradicted their claims. So now his latest intervention is so brazen, he wants people to forget that these failures occurred inside political institutions under political leadership for political reasons. Politics did not enter this scandal when survivors spoke out. Politics created this scandal in the first place. And then we have this newspaper article written by Kevin Fitzpatrick. Burnham's remarks are dutifully reported by the BBC's Northwest political correspondent. This matters because Kevin Fitzpatrick has form. In August 2013, bring it up so you can see it again. You won't show it, will you? I'm sorry, I know some of you like Charlie Peters. I get on with him. It's not him. It's those who run the show. That's Kevin Fitzpatrick. He emailed McMahon directly about allegations of child sexual exploitation linked to private clubs and shisha bars in Oldham. Allegations that in the small print of Burnham's assurance review were proven to be 100% correct. Children were dragged off the streets into shisha bars in broad daylight and raped. Raja Mia is not a liar. And year after year after year, these shisha bars continued to lure children in and rape them. Senior council figures and Greater Manchester Police are copied in, you can see. Fitzpatrick had received credible information raising safeguarding concerns. He acknowledges contact within the local Asian community had expressed genuine worry about young people entering these venues. He then explains that at the request of Greater Manchester Police and the council, and following assurances direct from McMahon, the BBC agreed not to broadcast the story. A BBC correspondent received information about child sexual exploitation, children being raped, verified community concerns were real, then agreed to suppress the story because politicians and police asked him to. His words are there, in his own words are damning. He states he, quote, agreed to hold any story on the private clubs for the time being and had been true to his word, but for the time being became permanent. The story was never broadcast focusing on Oldham. He did something later, but he covered it up in some greater manner, and the council celebrated the story that Fitzpatrick did later. It was a win for them, also confirmed and proven in his assurance review. There was no follow-up investigation into the community concerns, no revisiting when assurances provide hollow, no escalation despite documented safeguarding concerns. Even when we released it, years afterwards, the BBC has never denied the authenticity of this email, nor disputed its contents, nor has it commented that Fitzpatrick's father was actually also a former Labour Party councillor in Oldham. Joe Fitzpatrick. Isn't that right, Andy Burnham? What worried Fitzpatrick, as can be seen in this email, was not child safety. It was his reputation with McMahon and the council. Look at what he prioritises in the email. His integrity, his good relationship with council communications, and his disappointment if institutional trust had been damaged. No parent had a clue that there was a risk, even though there is evidence showing that parents were supposed to have been told, schools were supposed to have been told. Look at what Fitzpatrick does not mention. Why is there no reference to safeguarding escalation, reporting thresholds, duty to children, public interest? Instead, here is a BBC correspondent received information about child exploitation, and his concern was protecting political relationships. And this scumbag is now promoting Andy Burnham 12 years later. Keep the politics out of it. Let them get on with their job. This is not journalism. Journalism requires scrutiny of power, escalation of safeguarding concerns, independence from political influence. What this is, I have a word for this, it's collaboration. That's what this is. The BBC has never explained why credible safeguarding concerns were suppressed following political assurances. It has never reconciled the conduct with any recognisable definition of public interest journalism. When reporters became part of the cover-up machinery, because that's what this is, they forfeit any claim to independence. Tell me I am reading this wrong. Fast forward to now, Fitzpatrick's current reporting on Burnham is not some fresh lapse. It is a pattern stretching back over a decade. When he parrots Burnham's framing, sidelines survivor objections, and omits Burnham's role in commissioning a review that deliberately excluded Pakistani rape gang survivors from testifying, he's doing exactly what he has always done, serving power instead of scrutinising it. Being told to trust the process after decades of managed betrayal is not just unreasonable, it is insulting. The most dangerous moment for any inquiry is not its end, but its beginning. It is when the terms of debate are set and when the boundaries of acceptable questioning are established. We are watching this happen now. Key figures are being validated, critics are being marginalised, calls for calm and unity are drawing out demands for accountability. It's as though we are the trouble causers. We are the rabble. We are the ones who are the problem. Without us, we would not be here. This is how cover-ups work. Not through dramatic suppression, but through patient management of expectations, careful control of narrative, and gradual erosion of public anger until exhaustion replaces outrage. If this inquiry proceeds under these conditions, with compromised politicians setting limits and complicit media smoothing resistance, it will become just another expensive exercise in institutional self-protection. So I ask the question again, why is GB News refusing to interview me? Why, when GB News and every journalist in this country knows that if not for the campaign in Oldham, there would be none of what is taking place now? And come to Oldham and ask anyone in this town who has been at the forefront of that campaign. Every genuine exposure of grooming gang failures has come from those the system has tried to silence. Survivors who refused to disappear, whistleblowers who risked everything, campaigners who would not be bought off. It has never come from politicians and never come from those demanding patience. Burnham's intervention is not defending justice. It is defending himself. The inquiry has yet to begin, but the cover-up has already started. What Burnham doesn't realise is that when we map this out, when we plan this, the national inquiry is not the ending. We knew this was going to happen. You saw me on the steps of Rochdale Town Hall, before any of this came out, confirm that the national inquiry will be a cover-up. The national inquiry is not our ending. It is our beginning. Burnham should be afraid. He knows exactly what he faces. He commissioned a review that cleared his allies while silencing survivors. Those are cold, harsh truths. He defended a process that excluded Pakistani rape gang victims. He tried to block any further inquiry Now he is desperately trying to manage expectations before the real investigation begins. He thinks containing the inquiry's scope will protect him. Well, if he thinks that, he's wrong. The evidence of his role in commissioning institutional cover-up is already established, and GB News do not have to report it because GB News did not get this here. The people of this country got this here using social media and their own networks. The only question I have is, do we have what it takes to continue another year and another year and another year after that? Many of you are new on this journey with me over the last 12 months. There's 6 years before this for us. We are 7 years in. It will take us 10 years before we get to a place where this becomes something else entirely. And these people know that the inevitability is not another cover-up with lessons learned report, but rather politicians and police officers in prison. Burnham's intervention is not defending justice. He knows what's coming. It is desperately defending himself. He is afraid, and he has every reason to be afraid, because as each day goes, our numbers are growing at a rate never before seen. My name is Raja Mir. A very, very good evening.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them. Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.